Hello, my people. I am back and I am so excited to talk to you this weekend about one of the things that has really made the most difference for me that I've learned in therapy so far. What I want to talk about today is a phrase that my therapist had used and basically unpacked it, and that is staying in your lane. And she definitely had a more eloquent way of putting it as well, but it's really become kind of a good catchphrase for me. My husband's picked it up for me as well if he sees me, veering off into somebody else's lane. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, what that means to me, unpack it a little bit, just some different thoughts I've had about it. I did want to go ahead and say in this video, I'm by no means a therapist at all. So I just wanted to preface all of this, I guess, by saying, giving a little disclaimer that this is by no means intended to be therapy for anyone. This is not intended to be a replacement for therapy. It's not intended to be, medical advice or anything like that. I just want to share my journey, things I've learned, just maybe start conversations, let people know they're not alone, different things like that. So there's my disclaimer. I am not a therapist. So I wanted to talk a little bit about staying in your lane. One of the biggest triggers for me for my anxiety is wondering what other people think about me. So, anytime maybe a friend doesn't text me back, within a couple hours, or I walk by my boss's door at work and it's closed and someone else from the department is in there as well. Or, maybe a friend or, a parent or whatever, says something that in my mind, having anxiety, being a person with anxiety, can be construed as that they're saying that they're upset with me or I did something wrong or, just different things like that. So I'm very sensitive to those type of things. And in that first example, so if a friend didn't text me back within a couple of hours, oh my gosh, what did I do? They must be upset with me. They don't want to be my friend anymore. I see my boss in his office with his door closed with somebody else in there, and I'm thinking same thing. Oh my gosh, what did I do? He must be mad at me. I'm getting fired. And then even from there, it just spirals into, I'm getting fired. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to, they're going to take my kids away from me because I won't be, able to put a roof over their head. And it just shoots from there, and it winds up in a terrible, terrible place. So that has been something that's been really important to me, is every time I find myself kind of veering off into someone else's lane of, that's their life. That's what they're thinking. That's what they're going through. They have things going on. I have my lane of things I'm doing, my goals, what things I feel strongly about, my kids, my work. And as long as I know that I'm in my lane, I'm trying to do good, I'm doing me basically, and this person's doing them, and kind of swerving over into, oh my gosh, this person looked at me funny. What are they thinking about? What are they thinking about me? What, they must be mad at me. Veering off in that direction is just not a good thing for me. So, and I've really tried to immediately, when I find that happening, say to myself, nope, back in your lane. You are here. They are there. If they have an issue with you, they will communicate that to you. You don't need to veer over into their lane and start assuming things about their life and about the things that they're thinking. A lot of that really has to do with determining what you can control, right? So there are a lot of situations where, especially with people like myself who have anxiety, that's what we want to do, is we want to be able to control the situation. We want to be able to put it into a box so that it's not scary. And you can't do that with everything. So really kind of unpacking, okay, what can I control? When I get in that type of situation, let's just say maybe I texted a friend and they haven't gotten back to me for a few days. In that situation, is this something that I can control? No, right? I can't control that. I can't decide when they text me back. That's completely in their control. That's in their lane. It's not in mine. So I can't do anything to change that. So what I have to do at that point is accept it, change my thinking about it so that I can move forward in my lane instead of staying in theirs. So telling myself, this is a normal reaction for you. This is how you respond. You don't want to get down on yourself and saying, oh, nope, back in your lane. Why would you even think that? You're so stupid. Your anxiety's taking over again. Not putting yourself down, but okay, nope, we're going to come back over here. Now let's unpack that. Do you have any control over this situation? No, you don't. So let's accept it. And then what can I do to move past it, distract myself from it? Those types of things, just to kind of put me back in the right place. And another thing that popped up for me, I can't remember if it was on Pinterest or Instagram or, I was just scrolling, probably trying to distract myself from something, was a quote that said, not every situation requires your reaction. And that just was really powerful to me, because I'm the kind of person that when I see any type of situation, I want to help. I want to fix it. But that's not my responsibility to, jump in and fix it, or even to allow myself to go down the path of having the reaction. So, there have been people that I know, that I'm friends with on Facebook, that I've had to unfollow just because their lives are so full of chaos and drama and things like that, that when I would see them post something, it would trigger something in me where I would become so anxious, and it would be all I could think about, all consuming for days. I can't stop thinking about this person. What can I do to help them? And what can I say to them? And oh my gosh, this situation is terrible. And, sometimes that's just not warranted. Sometimes it is. And I think it's a fine line between, kind of staying in your lane and removing things that are negative for you. But then also still being willing to help people when they do need it. So that's probably a whole other video. I'm not in any way trying to say that, anybody that's having problems, you should just push them aside. But sometimes, especially if you're struggling from a mental illness, maybe it's not your place to step in and help them. Yes, maybe they need help. Maybe you need to, direct them to someone else. But if you aren't mentally, emotionally, spiritually strong enough, it's okay to come back into your lane. Know that they have the tools and that they have the people in their lane that are strong enough to help them. That's really, really hard for me. Also things that I'm really passionate about. So if I see something, on social media, and I know that day in particular, I'm not strong enough to deal with this, I can't let myself have a reaction to this right now, because my reaction will be too strong. It will send me into that spiral, and I have to say to myself, okay, no more for today. we are turning this off, because really, if you kind of use that same analogy, you know, say we go on to Facebook and just scroll, you're scrolling through hundreds of different lanes. And I guess not the temptation, but it would just be so easy, you know, to swerve into that when you're not in a good enough place to really be able to handle it. And I know the word trigger, I feel like it's used too often and it really gets a bad rap. And I've been kind of annoyed with it myself too, in different, you know, online groups and things like that, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys, like the fact that I ate a banana today was triggering for someone. But now that I've kind of really learned what it means and how far off it can send you, it really is important, I feel like, to think about and to understand, because it's not just that someone's saying, oh, that's triggering to me, you know, I'm uncomfortable, that's not a nice thing to talk about. You know, for me, if it's something that's triggering to me, it's going to send me into a spiral of anxiety that will last for weeks. I might get sick because my immune system's down. You know, it really can turn someone's world upside down because of their experiences. But I'm definitely getting sidetracked. So it's like veered way off the path that I was intending. Something else that's always really kind of helped me with this notion of staying in your own lane, staying focused on you and the things that you control, is that most times, and my mom actually told me this in junior high or high school, you know, that time when you're really worried about, you know, what people think about what you wear, or, you know, you're breaking out or whatever. It's probably some of the best advice she gave me was essentially, people are too worried about their own shit to have that much time to invest in yours, if that makes sense. I'm so used to investing so much time and thinking about what other people are thinking and feeling because of my mental state that I think it's normal, but it's not. Most people, they're so involved in their lives, rightly so, not that they're selfish or you know, self-absorbed, or that they wouldn't be there to help you, but they're doing their thing. They are adulting. They're doing the stuff that they need to do. They don't have time for your stuff. They don't have time to worry about, you know, how you said hi to them 2 weeks ago, or, you know, whether or not that text you sent them means what they think it did. They don't have time. They don't have time. And you shouldn't either. I shouldn't either. It takes up so much time and emotional energy to worry about those things when it's really needless. And it's so hard to pull back as a person who has anxiety. And I've said that over and over again. I feel like it's starting to sound ridiculous, but it's so hard to pull back and see, oh, this is the way that a normal person's brain functions. It's completely different from mine. They don't care. And not in a bad way, but literally they don't care. They've got their own things going on. So yeah, I feel like that's just really important to remember, that people have their own stuff and it's not about you most of the time. And that actually kind of leads me into something else that I've discovered, or just, I don't know, kind of had a revelation about, I guess. You know, when we talk about people who are self-centered, you know, you think about people who are kind of mean in a way, like, oh, well, you need to do this for me, and you need to do this for me, and, you know, they're kind of, I don't know, self-righteous, and I can't think of the right word, but in a way, assuming that everything that everyone does is about you is very self-centered. and not in a mean way, not in a way that's intended to be negative, right? So we're not trying to make the world revolve around us. We just honestly believe that because of who we are, the whole world is now upended for some reason. And that makes us sad and terrified and feel bad about ourselves. But if I go back and think about what I just said, why would the whole world be upset because of a text I sent? It's a very self-centered, I feel like the true sense of the word, not the like superficial idea of the word that we kind of have, way to live. And I've noticed that a lot, not noticed it, I guess, but it's been in the forefront of my mind a lot as I think about, especially my husband and the different things that he's had to deal with me. And it makes me feel very lucky that I've had someone that is willing to look past that, or understand it, I guess, and know that it's not meant in a hurtful way. But that's just been something that's really been weighing on me lately, that, wow, I've really been just living my life as though the world revolves around me, and that's not how I want to live my life. So yeah, it's, just another kind of point, I guess, to that whole thing of staying in your lane, which I guess in itself kind of does sound selfish. But like I said before, I think, it's not something where you would say, oh no, I'm staying here and I can't help you and I can't help you and I don't care what anyone else does or what anyone else needs. That's not it at all. Really what it is kind of the notion of, like I talked about, having to unfollow people on Facebook, or Instagram or any social, or even in real life, the concept of unsubscribing to someone or to something that's causing negativity in your life. You have a responsibility to yourself and your family to live your life the best way that you can, to move forward, be healthy, be sane, and set your goals and do the things that you're meant to do without feeling as though you're responsible for everyone. It's a very fine line, between, I guess, pushing people away for no reason or being rude and mean and just not a compassionate, understanding person who is there for people when they need it, and being someone who will throw your whole life to the side if you think that someone you barely know could use your help, or even someone that you do know who won't change, doesn't want your help, that there's nothing left that you can do, and you have nothing left to give. They need to maybe figure out their lane and what it consists of and what they need to do to move forward in theirs. Maybe they need to get out of your lane and stay in theirs. Maybe that's what they need to be healthy. So, again, it's a fine line, but something I'm learning is that it is okay to unsubscribe from people or things or thoughts that are causing negativity in your life. And it's really hard to do, especially for people with anxiety who, you know, your existence and the way you feel about yourself revolves around how other people feel about you. So if you think that stepping back is going to anger them or make them sad or make them hate you, or in the worst thing in my mind, make them think that you are a bad person, then it's really, really hard to do that. But I think it's necessary, and I think you just need to give yourself permission to do it. You know, I give you permission to do it. It's okay. I've had to do it, and it's okay. It's okay to do what you need to do to stay healthy. Okay, sorry, my battery died. I just wanted to wrap up kind of talking about ways that I've been trying to change this whole situation in my brain that my therapist and I have been working on, which is, you know, really it's about changing the habits, I guess, the habits in your thinking. When you find yourself swerving into somebody else's lane and wondering, you know, thinking those bad things about yourself and kind of putting thoughts in their head, bring yourself back. This is so helpful for me. I always will tell myself is you do not have the data to support this thought. So if I think someone is mad at me just because they looked at me the wrong way, I bring myself back into my lane and say, no, you do not have the data to support this thought. You know you have the data to support that you are a good person, that you are loved, that you are safe, and if this person has an issue with you, you know that they would say something. So once you get in the habit of doing that, you start believing those things and you start seeing those things ahead of you when you are in your lane. Yes, I am a good person. Yes, people do like me. Yes, I am safe. I'm going to focus on that and I'm going to drive towards that. And that really is the only thing that I guess, the only thing that got me over the hurdle of starting my channel was not thinking about what I thought other people would think, because that was really the only reason that I had for not starting it was, well, people will think it's stupid. They'll think it's silly. They'll think it's a waste of time. Excuse me, but so what? If it brings you joy and you know you're trying to do something good and you're not hurting anyone, then focus on your goals. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about what other people are doing or thinking in their lanes. And the other thing is really to enlist or bring in or surround yourself with positive people in your life, people who understand what you're going through, people who will listen to you, you know, adopt your catchphrases. Like I said, my husband has been great where, you know, maybe some nights he'll come home and he'll be in a bad mood just because something happened at work, and immediately I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? He's mad at me. Spirals. He's leaving me. I'm gonna lose the house. I'm gonna lose the kids. You know, just all of these things start turning in my head, and then he'll say, no, honey, stay in your lane. I love you, but stay in your lane. Not everything is about you, in a kind way. And having people like that in your life who know what you're dealing with and what you're trying to accomplish, you know, in life, but in therapy as well, really helps you to have someone on the outside to kind of help redirect you when your brain starts getting into all of those weird spaces. So that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. I just kind of wanted to unpack that a little bit and share, because it's been really, really helpful for me. Probably the most helpful thing so far in therapy, because like I said a million times in this video, that's a huge issue for people with anxiety. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you were able to get something out of it. If you think you know someone who might, you know, enjoy listening to it or get some affirmation or anything like that from this video, please share it, and please subscribe, and I will see you next time. See y'all soon.